I'm just making a short video sharing this care chart that I created for myself and that I'm sharing with anybody else who needs it. The purpose of this care chart was created for me to help me keep track of the feelings and the symptoms that I go through as I'm either starting to spiral downward into burnout or as I'm starting to recover from burnout. I have been keeping track of which things cause me further anxiety and what things seem to help me. I also wanted to create something very simple for the people that are close to me that are trying to help me when they aren't able to help me. The thought behind that was that usually when I'm at my worst, it's very hard for me to articulate what kind of help is good for me. Being PDA, even asking for help can be difficult. So this was kind of a way to make it easy and straightforward. Here you can see I divided the chart into two parts. On the left-hand side is for the caregivers or family. The right-hand side is just for myself. In the Google Doc, the link is going to be in the description. The Google Doc, I have kind of a brief explanation of the chart and the purposes of the chart that I think are helpful. But one thing I clarified is that each section is just for the individuals in question. So, for instance, the half that is for me is strictly for me. It's not meant to be used by anybody else to keep tabs or to keep track, because that'll definitely trigger my anxiety, and I assume any other PDAers' anxiety. But sometimes I need reminders of what exactly I am capable of, because oftentimes what happens is that I will go into burnout, I will start to recover, and on my good days, I completely forget what it is like to have a bad day. Up here in the heading is whatever number I consider myself to be at, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 is when I'm the most regulated, the most able to take care of myself, and 4 is when I would consider it the worst while still being independent. So if I'm able to be at home and I'm not hospitalized, that would be what level 4 is. And I created kind of a stepstone chart there on the right side to kind of visualize where exactly I fall at on the chart. Under the category for myself, I put the things that recharge me. These are the things that don't cause me anxiety. So let's say old and new TV shows that I like to rewatch, old or new books. Working on my channel content is okay for me, even when I'm doing pretty bad. Also, cleaning alone helps me to feel better. These are just my examples of what works for me. Above that list is where I put the things that I need to limit or things that I need to avoid that often make me worse and make me feel worse. Appointments especially are a big trigger for me. Telephone calls, what kind of socialization I engage in. Anyway, it definitely depends on where I'm at on the chart, where some of these things are going to fall. On the caregiver side, I divided it into tasks that I would appreciate people doing for me without even asking, versus the tasks that I would appreciate people partnering up to do with me. The difference there is I feel like consent is given if I put this on my chart and someone helps me. I've participated in allowing for that to happen. There are some things that I struggle with doing, but I really want to do. So it's more helpful in those instances for people to volunteer to help me do them with me. So it kind of gets me moving, gets me going. In the bottom corner, I put indicators. This is both for, myself and for the people I'm close to, just the things to watch out for that kind of show if I'm in this mode or not. My irritability, my forgetfulness, my emotions, how often I'm retreating, how I'm eating, often drinking or medications, my thinking process. Another one is how clean the house is usually an indicator for me, how often I'm doing my hobbies and cooking, etc. So, of course, this is going to be as unique as we all are as individuals. And so I provided in my Google Doc what I've used to kind of help me discern where I'm at and how well I'm doing. And that's using this window of tolerance worksheet. The window of tolerance worksheet shows traits for hyperarousal and hypoarousal. I tend to fall into hyperarousal category. So when I'm not doing so well, there's a lot of anxiety, impulsivity, racing thoughts, overeating, emotional outbursts, etc. So this is just kind of to help fill in that indicator portion. You can look at it as a reference if you can't think of anything off the top of your head. Again, each of these charts is going to be as unique as the person that they're for. So I included a couple of mine to just give some ideas of what it might look like. They're intended to be flexible. They're intended to be adaptable. But yeah, for especially when you're starting to cycle downward, or if you, like myself, just start to forget how easy it is to slip into burnout. I like to use this as kind of a reference point to say, hey, I think I'm starting to do too much. I'm starting to pack too much in. I'm setting myself up for a struggle later on down the road. Or, sometimes life itself is just out of hand and it gets stressful. And so, again, I can kind of reference where am I at on that, on my window of tolerance. Where am I at as far as my indicators? How's the housework going? How's my mood going? And it seems kind of obvious, but it's not for someone who struggles, I guess, with understanding themselves and understanding their patterns. I'm 36 years old and I'm just now figuring this out. So I hope this is a help for anybody else who is, working on this. I did want to add, I'm an adult and I made this for adults in mind. I don't know how great it would work as a caregiver, giving this to their child, using it to try to help them stay regulated, but it's a possibility. But definitely it's meant for the PDA person to be crafting it. I don't know that it would work as well if a caregiver was trying to make it for somebody else. I think it would probably backfire in that instance. So just keep that in mind. It might have limited use, but it's worth a try.